And it took me a while to really circle back around to get this solid answer to that. And what drives me is right outside this recording studio, I have a 6-year-old son named Lucas, and what drives me is I need to actually do the actions that show what a professional is, so I can be the best role model for my 6-year-old son. So my why is I want to be the best role model I can be for my son. And what that really drives is, it's not just about me anymore, it's about showing the way for other people.
The Circle of Knowledge podcast is brought to you by Amplified Minds, helping entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, and dreamers take their business ideas and goals to the next level. This podcast features best-selling industry resources and the professional panel discussions by the core team at Amplified Minds. Now, here are their discussions. Okay, for those of you joining us on the Circle of Knowledge podcast, this is also the Amplified Minds channel. Welcome. I am here with Dan Clapper, and I'm about to introduce him in a second, but this is your host, Jon Kovach Jr. We do all of this on just a go and take. We don't have any scripts. We have nothing planned. We just kind of let the inspiration flow, because this is how you do masterminds. So today on the Amplified Minds podcast entitled Circle of Knowledge, we will be interviewing Mr. Dan Clapper and talking a little bit about him and his book and his business and some of his dreams, which is what we're going to start off the show with at first. Now, what we love to do is introduce the person by having them talk about their story. And my favorite first question is to ask Mr. Dan Clapper,
Sure.
Dan, who are you and where did you come from?
Who am I and where did I come from? So my name is Dan Clapper, right? Where did I come from? So that's great. I grew up in New York. I've been in the East Coast most of my life. I've moved around and just recently came to Utah. So I've been to Utah for about a year. And probably more of who am I would call myself a personal development junkie.
Awesome.
Right? Probably relates with a lot of the people that are in your circle, right?
Yep.
I think I went to college, and although I was learning a lot of stuff in the books, I found so much more value in the books that I picked up at the store, right? The $10 books instead of the $50,000 college education, right? $100,000. So since then, I've built up a library myself of personal development books. I've applied a lot of things, and now I'm making the transition from the consumer to the producer, right?
Yeah. And a little bit more to add on that, Dan and I have become friends and connections through a very valuable system. We host masterminds all over the world, and one here locally in Salt Lake City. Dan showed up one day, and we got to know each other very, very well. And he had one of the most interesting stories, because most entrepreneurs these days are coming up with tech products, the newest inventions, some of the most unique approaches to service-based entrepreneurism, which is providing either a service or a source or some sort of invented product based on technology.
Exactly.
And Dan has something different.
Sure.
Because of his expertise in professional development, as somebody who has worked his butt off his entire life in order to get where he is, he now has a wealth of knowledge and information about how to improve the individual in the workforce, becoming what we like to call the 5-star professional. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Great.
But I love it. It's so fun because we love professional development here. Professional development is one of the most important keys, because if anything, people focus on businesses, the Apples and the Googles and the Amazons of the world, and they kind of feel like these are these self-running machines, but they're only as good as the people that run them, right?
Exactly.
And so what was one of the first times that you felt like I needed to improve myself to improve my business habits?
Sure. Gosh, that's what a great question, right? It's so cliche, but my first real book that made a difference was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it really just changed my mindset of there is so much more opportunity out there in the world that only a very few people see or grab a hold of. So many people are stuck in the system and have limited mindsets. And Think and Grow Rich just blew it out, right? So if that answers your question, I guess.
Absolutely. How old were you when you first read it?
Probably 23.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I also was 23 when I first read it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I was in college, and it was someone just mentioned it as a resource in one of my courses.
Sure.
And I was like, Think and Grow Rich. Well, I want to be rich, so I started reading, and I realized it wasn't just about that. It was so much more. It brought up accountability. It brought up professionalism. It brought up the daily and minimal habits that are required. And actually, that's become kind of our business Bible.
Sure. I just thought about that, the masterminds and all of that too, right?
Yeah, we literally took it out of Napoleon Hill's book.
Yeah.
So, are we an original business? Not whatsoever.
That's great.
One of my favorite stories to tell, and I've told this multiple times on the podcast, but if you're new listening, is masterminds have dated back even before, like, the Bible. Okay? And you can argue that all day long, but one of the best mastermind stories I've ever heard, and just to put it in just a couple sentences, as brief as I can, there was a mastermind back in the day called the Inklings, and the Inklings were a bunch of authors and writers who would gather together, and the Inklings consisted of very famous writers such as C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien.
Okay.
And at one point, J.R.R. Tolkien came to this mastermind and said, "Hey, I'm writing number 2 of The Hobbit. I'm going to call it Hobbit 2. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it wasn't Hobbit 2. But he says, I'm going to name this book The Hobbit 2, and I'm stuck. I can't figure out why I can't get this Hobbit story to evolve. And C.S. Lewis came to him and said, well, I challenge you to reflect on one thing, and that is, remember what makes a Hobbit interesting. Uh-huh. It's when the Hobbit leaves the Shire is when the story takes off.
Got it.
Lord of the Rings was then born.
Amazing.
Amazing, right? So,
yeah.
So that's the power of what Napoleon Hill described in his book.
Sure.
And I'd love to talk more about you and your book. So you've come from a line of professional development and just experience and so forth.
Sure.
You have written your own book, and we have it displayed on here. And we'll talk more about it on the second segment of this episode. But Get More HVAC Leads. And that's not really what we want to talk about. What we want to talk about is becoming the better professional. But what led you to write your first book?
Sure. So let's see. I would say Grant Cardone, right? So he has a book called The 10X Rule. And I don't remember the exact chapter. But basically he said, get off the couch, do what you're supposed to do. And in that moment, I was jogging. I was listening to the 10X Rule through audiobook. And I've had the idea for this book probably for 5 years sitting on my computer. And gosh, all the people I network with, they all have books. I bet you watching right now have a book that you want to write too, right? That's just been sitting there. And the way Grant Cardone delivered the message to me of get up, you lazy whatever.
Explicit.
Yeah, edit. And just do it. And it was just the message I needed at the right time. And I went back and I probably wrote this in 3 or 4 days. So it's been up here for 5 years, and just that inspiration and that motivation, boom, it flowed.
And a lot of people, especially in the entrepreneurial realm, have great ideas, great thoughts, and they loom on those for 5, 6 plus years.
So true.
And very rare do the actual winners take action enough to produce the product.
Sure.
What was that one thing that made you take action to finally just write it all down?
Right. So it was hearing the word, and it's cliche, but it's so true. It's just that first step, right? Sitting down, writing that first sentence. Okay, now the second sentence. Now the third sentence, and it's just these. I guess what some people say is you chunk it down to something so simple that you just get it done and you check it off. So because I always had this big book to finish in my mind, it was always this big, huge thing. I really chunked it down to, I want a paragraph today, right? And even if the paragraph was my goal, I ended up writing a whole chapter. Because once you start writing a little bit, the floodgates open, right? So
I love that.
yeah.
I love that. We work with a lot of professionals, and one of the most recent professionals I was working with said that they had no idea how to start their book.
Sure.
But then after asking them a few questions, I came to find out that they already had 30 videos worth of content
Sure.
that they had already produced, and they felt like that they needed to start from scratch for their book. And I asked them, I said, how easy would it be to take your videos and turn them into your own book? And she said, well, I guess we could do that. And I said, there you go.
Sure.
30 videos. You've got enough content for your book. You've already got it written.
Yeah.
You just need to take the step to do it.
Sure.
And sometimes a lot of us are unaware of the resources that we have to help us achieve that goal. What's your driver? What is your why? Simon Sinek fans out there.
Sure.
By the way, we did make mention of Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone, I know you're listening out there. Hey, Grant Cardone, if you're really listening out there, give us a call. We'd like to talk to you.
Sure.
We'll introduce you to Dan Clapper here. But what is, going back to Simon Sinek, who is also listening? What is your why? What is driving you?
Sure.
To bring the message of professional development, of taking action to people? What drives you?
Such a great question. And it took me a while to really circle back around to get this solid answer to that. And what drives me is right outside this recording studio, I have a 6-year-old son named Lucas, and what drives me is I need to actually do the actions that show what a professional is, so I can be the best role model for my 6-year-old son. So my why is I want to be the best role model I can be for my son. And what that really drives is, it's not just about me anymore, it's about showing the way for other people, right? So that's my why.
I love it. And Dan is a man of few words, but I can tell you just from the small moment when he brought his son into our office, the kid is very articulate, very smart and sharp, and it is like watching the spitting image of the guy who we've been working with. It's so cool. So cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, we're Lucas and we're discussing starting a YouTube channel for him. He's 6 years old, but I think if he's seeing me create these videos and add value, he's going to want to do it, right? And age is just a number, in my opinion. If he gets started now, gosh, he's going to be so many levels beyond me. I'm excited.
Okay, Dan, you just said something that like triggered 100 different things. Age is just a number.
Yeah.
I freaking explicitive love that, because again, this same client said, I don't know how many pages my book should be. And I asked them, what number of books will satisfy you? Or what number of pages in a book will satisfy you?
Yeah.
And they said, well, I just don't know what the industry average is. And I said, why do you need to be concerned about the industry average?
Yeah.
Just write your book.
Right.
Numbers are irrelevant.
It really is. It's so true. It's so true.
And I love that, because a mentor of mine once said, John, stick to your corporate job, because the best time to start a business was back in high school.
Sure.
Well, I took a second opinion on that option, and I went to another person who told me, John, the best time to start a business was yesterday, so get started.
That's it.
And I love that. I think it would be really fun too. Maybe we'll consider that moving forward, but it'd be really cool to get your boy's information out there to have our listeners go check out his YouTube channel when they create it.
Sure.
That will kind of push that to happen faster.
There we go. Hold me accountable to that.
I love that. So you mentioned your why is your son, and the example you want to set. Tell me a little bit more about some of your dreams. What would you like to achieve What's kind of the thing
Sure.
that you've been thinking about so far, other than family, of course? What has been something that you're working towards?
Sure. Let's see. I guess. Yeah, I guess my big dream, right, is just to help transform thousands of people to become five-star professionals, right? Because I think the ripple effect of that is just so mind-blowing. Just if I think of my own, just what I do, if I can get myself to become a five-star professional, the ripple effect I have directly with me. So one of my favorite word, I have two favorite words, leverage and perspective. Leverage is just such an outstanding word, because if I know how to do this and I can teach other people how to do this, now that one time I did it is actually 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, right? And I think leverage is where massive growth happens. So
I love that. For those listening at home,
Yeah.
leverage and perspective are key fundamentals in developing. Well, let's even call it leadership, because
Sure.
I think the leadership is the let's call it the derivative or the stem, the root of professionalism and growth. So there was leverage, and then there was perspective.
Sure.
Can you tell me a little bit more about why perspective is important to you?
I love this word.
Okay.
So in my opinion, perspective can solve any problem. Okay? So if any problem you have in your life right now, if you zoom out or look at it from a different view, or keep changing your view, eventually you're going to find a perspective where, okay, this problem, maybe there's a solution to it this way. And I think where I've picked up on perspective is with the last couple roles I had in the HVAC industry. I've been to 49 to 50 states. I've met thousands of HVAC professionals, and I have I've had the ability to see the perspective of how 1,000 different people do business, right? And just opening up my mind to all of these different viewpoints, now I can truthfully find, of 1,000, these are like the best of the best practices, right? So I think so many people get stuck in there's only this way or this way. And if you keep expanding that perspective, you're going to get that top tier best practices.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Again, something you said triggered 100 different things.
Awesome.
What I'll stick to is this is very interesting for those of you watching and listening at home. Dan first told us about his life and his story, how he began to what we call shelf education. He started reading books and learning on his own and to discover things as he was getting that experience. And now what he just told us is that that's exactly where that word comes from when it comes to perspective. Perspective comes from expanding your horizons, understanding more, and trying things.
Exactly.
Which ultimately leads back to why he is and who he is.
Sure.
Because that's where he came from.
Great. Yeah. Thank you.
Interesting. It is so cool to
Yeah.
connect and see, because a lot of people who know themselves well enough, like Dan himself, they are able to portray their upbringing in what they're trying to teach, or what the messaging that they're trying to deliver to the world. And I love that. So
Thank you.
yeah, this has been really fun. Okay, we're going to take a small break, and then we're going to come back, and we're actually going to invite Matt Fritzsche, founder of Amplified Minds, to come and chat with us. And we are going to talk more about Dan's business, his experience in the HVAC industry, as well as what he's got going on, and it will be releasing in 2019. So stay tuned. Hold on tight. We're going to be right back after these short few messages. Welcome back to the Circle of Knowledge podcast. This is Jon Kovach Jr., your host, with Amplified Minds founder, and we'll call him
that other guy, Matt
the other
Fritzsche.
guy.
There you go.
I was trying to think of something really cool, like a holiday name, like the Santa of all reindeers or something.
I'll take Santa of all reindeers. Okay.
And then today with us is Mr. Dan Clapper.
How you doing?
And if you want, you'll have heard in the first part of this episode Dan's story. We're super excited to talk to Dan. He brought with him not only a wealth of knowledge about professionalism, but he has also taken industries beyond what is available to them, and we're really excited to dive into that. But Dan, just to get started and really just kind of introduce you briefly, tell us about who you are, and then let's talk about this book here on the center table.
Sure. So let's see. I grew up in the HVAC industry. My father had his own business. Went away to college, and I realized I learned a lot more about life from books and actual experience than college. So I started just diving my nose into a bunch of personal development. Just created a whole library of personal development knowledge, business growth, marketing, things like that. And then I really just started applying it to the HVAC industry. I didn't mention this on the first half, but if you heard the term guerrilla marketing, anyone heard of that?
Guerrilla marketing?
Yes.
Yeah.
J. Conrad Levinson. I spent a week at his personal house. So I dove into personal development so much that I wanted to just connect with the experts in every industry. This guy is the expert at guerrilla marketing. I wanted to really just soak it all in, right? So that being said, so probably 15 years in the industry, 20 years in the industry of really applying a lot of these techniques. So instead of being a consumer of personal development, I'm starting to make a shift to where I want to be a producer. So I wrote one book last year. I've got another book coming first of the year, and some courses and stuff, really of all of the best practices that I've learned over the years. Good?
Yeah, that was cool. More than adequate, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You wrote your first book last year,
Sure.
and you told us a little bit about what inspired that. It was a lot of your perspective and knowledge that came from your experience in the industry. Tell us maybe one golden ticket, one golden nugget of your current book, and then we'll dive more into
Sure.
what's coming in 2019.
Sure. So this is for HVAC contractors, but it really can apply to anyone in the service industry. Is, okay, how do I get more leads? And I wanted to just dial that down into the most simple thing I could. So my thought process is I want to help contractors create a one-page offer, right? So what is a one-page offer? It covers three things. What problems do you solve? Why are you different? And what do I get for calling you instead of the guy up the street, right? So, whether it's like a free consultation or things like that. So, in this book of Get More HVAC Leads, if you can really dial in what problems you solve and why you're different and what you offer them, now as a homeowner or as an end user, oh, this guy solves my air quality issue in my house. This guy solves the hot and cold spots I have in my room. I'm no longer just an HVAC guy when something's broken, but there's ways to get a lot of leads out of that.
So how are you delivering those 3 steps? Is it something where you would recommend that people have like a one sheet where they go in and deliver it, or is it something that you're identifying what those problems are before you deliver what you solve? How does that work?
Yeah, so I think any company. So I've been blessed with the careers I've had in the HVAC industry. I'd say 95% of companies don't have those 3 things clearly defined, right? They don't know why they're different than the guy at the street. They don't know why, what actual problems they solve. A lot of people are reactive with their business. And if you really dial in, I mean, I could go deep into that, but basically, well, go ahead.
I was kind of chuckling inside just at how many times I'm speaking with like anywhere from like coaches to any kind of salesman in the financial realm to the, you name it. How many times I've had that conversation and they can't come up with why they're different. Photographers, that one used to kill me when I'd hear like photographers, because in my mind, like I love shopping for people who come up with innovative ideas on how to grow a business, even if it's like an innovative sub-market. You know what I mean? Like, cool, go after some unique market, and that to me is awesome. But when you ask people and they say, I'm a photographer, what makes you different? Well, it's because I have better lighting. Well, yeah, but that's what every other guy says. I don't even know if you know that, but every other person says it. Same with like financial advising. Like, so what do you do? Well, I deliver these awesome type of, insurance policies. So does everyone else. And in those cases, I actually base, like my insurance guy, it's purely because of the relationship. I love the guy, you know what I mean?
Totally.
But I think that people need to identify what problems they solve and who, and then why are they different?
Sure.
Even if the difference is a sub-market.
Sure.
Not necessarily in the product, but you're going after a certain market that no one's hitting. You know what I mean?
You're going to be so excited. I'm so excited right now.
Okay.
So that exact thing, I wrote this book. I got it out within a month, maybe 5,000 copies.
Wow.
Across HVAC professionals across the country. And I realized that getting the more leads, I thought that was the biggest problem they have. And it's really that subset thing that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know why they're different. So I really started diving deep into this and just figuring a lot of things out. Actually, where some of these ideas sparked was the first mastermind meeting I came with you guys. And where HVAC companies or any service company for that matter differentiate itself is the people, right? So then I started diving deep more into this how do you know how a company is good, right? What do most people do? They go online and they look at reviews. So I started diving deep into the reviews online and seeing what it takes to become a 5-star professional, right? And this is what my second book is all about. It's why find your fire, how to or why HVAC is the best industry to be in, and number 2, how to become a 5-star professional. And what we're talking about here from book 1 to book 2 is that's actually the transition it went into. So far, so good?
So far, great. Man, there's so many ways we could take this.
Sure.
But I want to focus in on that transition.
Sure.
To the 5-star professional.
Sure.
And a lot of it probably has a lot to do with what you described, which is knowing what makes you different.
Yeah.
And maybe let's start there. What is it what are some of, without just, exposing all the secrets that are coming in the book that's coming out in 2019.
Sure.
Let's talk about some of the key factors that will help people become the 5-star professional.
Great. So let's relate this to the photography thing. Mm-hmm. So because I think it'll be great to transpose both of that, HVAC and photography.
Right.
So, a lot of people that own HVAC companies, they think maybe because they install better equipment or the mechanics of the HVAC system is what people really care about. No, that isn't. If I go online and I read all of these 5-star reviews, it's about the person. It's about the person that came in and took the time to listen to their problems. It's about the person showing up at the time they said. It's about time management. Mm. It's about going the extra mile. It's about, in the HVAC world, it's the people that lay down this plastic so they keep the house very nice. After they do the job, they vacuum up. A lot of the reviews I said, they left the house cleaner than I thought it was. That has nothing to do with HVAC, but it has to do with the going the extra mile and all of these, maybe the term is soft skills. And then that's when I realized, the part 2 of the 1-page offer, right? Why you're different, it's really in your people. So how do I create a book and a program that helps you, the HVAC contractor, develop your people into these 5-star professionals?
I want to pipe in there. That was so good.
Yeah.
We already talked about the photography example.
Yeah.
We probably order from Jimmy John's 5 times a week.
Yeah.
But and this is no endorsement for Jimmy John's, but if you are listening, Mr. Jimmy,
right.
This is for you. The reason why we go back and forth with Jimmy John's is that time management, but really it is when their people come through the door. Not only are they are here when they say they're going to be here, the orders are correct. Mm-hmm. Their orders are the exact way we ordered them, as well as the people are friendly. Yeah. And I think that because we kind of transition to the food industry, Chick-fil-A nailed this when they have every single one of their people greet their customers with hello, how are you, and with anytime they say thank you, you say my pleasure or my pleasure serving you, right? They've nailed that. It's the customer feel that sets them apart, but it's also the time management. And there's a few other factors that you just mentioned that like bring this whole thing all the way around. But I just wanted to add that.
And I think to keep going just a little bit, I mean, used again like photography, and I used earlier how I shop with my insurance guy because of the relationship I have. Sure. I mean, this works with waitering and waitressing, right?
So true.
Like I'm not even joking. It was probably a year ago. I still remember this post, but I had someone who posted on just like a local area. Wow, my wife's calling me. On a local area Facebook group, and they showed how upset they were about someone who left them a tip with a smiley face.
Yeah.
No money in the receipt tip, just a nice smiley face. That was it. And they were like Rampage Jackson at how upset they were. And in my mind, like I kind of flipped the switch at like, I wonder if a lot of these people who complain in that type of industry about not getting tips ever think about how they are and what kind of customer experience they are providing. Because I would want to tip the people who treat me well, and I want to do business with the people who treat me well. In the case of HVAC, it's going to be the same thing. I mean, you mentioned time, you mentioned a lot of those other things. I disowned my bug spray company when I saw the guy snooping around looking at my windows. Done. Like that's it. Yeah. But then on the flip side of it, yesterday have a guy I'm not even doing business with, who is a good friend of ours actually, Devin Frampton, who's he's a wealth strategist, and he gave me a little Christmas present. The Christmas present was a handwritten note. Like it's stuff like that where it's like, not only now do I want to use you in the future, but now I truly want to give you people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's all about that customer experience.
Sure. And I'll tell you one of the big takeaways. So I really wanted to understand the data of 5-star reviews. I just started, okay, this review said these words, these words, these words. What really surprised me too is a lot of the reviews that just had a lot of passion that you could hear, they named the specific person at the HVAC company. Nick came in and he was so friendly and he listened to my needs and he talked to me about my family and he just all these things. But to name someone specifically in that 5-star review, guess what? That's not just what's online. They're going to go out and tell all of their friends. You're going to the business that comes from that specific name. So just coming back to, if you want more leads, that differentiator is that 5-star professional. And if you have a team of people, let's develop them all into 5-star professionals, right?
And that's a lot of what your current book and future book will be talking about.
Exactly.
Is how to become the 5-star professional that gets those 5-star quality views.
It's so true. You know, we send it in the HVAC industry. We send them through.
You're good. Keep going.
Okay. In the HVAC industry, we send them through tech school. Photography. How many people go through photography schools and all these different things? But I think there's a good chunk of customers. You know, you can say customer service, but I think it goes beyond that.
Absolutely. I'd say too, this overriding theme of what we talked about earlier was perspective, and man, it just feels like training people to become 5-star professionals is like training people to be good relators, incredible people persons, people who develop relationships within just a few seconds. And I think that training is all about human connection and less about wearing a suit and tie and showing up for work.
So true.
It's more about wearing a Christmas sweater with dinosaurs on.
Exactly.
For those of you on the podcast who can't see, John is wearing a Christmas sweater with dinosaurs on. That's awesome.
Yeah, red sweater, green dinosaurs, all the way.
That's awesome.
I love this, and I think this is an incredible discussion about professionalism. We've gotten this really even deeper than surface level topics, which is we can stem all the way back to humanity just needs valuable connectors to help people move the ball forward.
Sure.
You've made this transition from get more HVAC leads to the 5-star professional. What's coming in 2019?
Sure. So, basically, there's going to be a book, how to become the 5-star professional. But really, the back end of that is, I think, in our industry, or a lot of industries, is there's training classes out there, but you go to a training class and then you go home and you forget about it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So basically, I'm creating the HVAC 5-star club, which is going to be a community of all of these people that are committed to being 5-star professionals. And a good chunk of that, a good piece, or I would say one of the most important pieces of this 5-star club is the accountability, right? So partnering with Amplified Minds to do some accountability on the back end of that, but the HVAC professionals will have one-on-one accountability coaches to not only help them get through the material, but help them individually, one-on-one, bring their game to the next level. And I'm just so excited about it. The people in the industry that I've talked to before, it's a game changer, and it just fires me up every day.
Well, that's
I love the fire, by the way. I gotta mention, he had a little pep in his step when he said that.
That's great.
Oh man, that is really awesome. So you've got that launching,
Sure.
As well as your book.
Sure.
Now, is the book going to be some sort of curriculum course add to this club, or is it just another piece of your puzzle?
Yeah, I think it's just another piece of people consume things in different ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true.
There'll be videos, there'll be books, there'll be webinars, just articles. I'm going all out. 10x, right? I'm going to hit everybody.
I like it.
Yeah. Specific in my industry, though. So.
I love that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I'd say for anyone listening, the best way to connect with me, I know you're a big fan of this too, is just to find me on LinkedIn. Dan Clapper. I'm in Utah. Look me up, Dan Clapper, HVAC Utah, you'll find me. So.
And
Nice.
a link to his LinkedIn will be in our show notes, so you'll be able to find him there. Hit him up. He is an incredible professional. I wanted to roll quickly back to what we talked about in the first hour, which is who you are and why that this is important.
Sure.
I think that you've already expressed that in the fire and the excitement that you have, but tell us a little bit more what you see happening as more professionals enroll in your course, in your club,
Sure.
and what the world looks like if people are applying what you're about to teach.
Sure. So this is the exciting part about it, right? I think it's I used the word in the first half, leverage, but it's really the ripple effect, I guess you would call it, or butterfly effect, that movie,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Had a really bad date experience watching that movie. But
Yes.
But let's just, level one is I'm here, I'm gonna provide a 5-star experience with every customer I meet with, right? And that's gonna ripple out to my direct customers, and they're gonna tell their friends about it. So now, if I can create a system that helps develop a bunch of me's and a bunch of 5-star professionals, now thousands of people are going to help hundreds of thousands of people have an amazing HVAC experience. I think a lot of times when people think HVAC, like, oh, I gotta call this guy, he's gonna rip me off. Almost kind of like the used car salesman mentality, right? And I just want to break that from our industry. So it's not just developing people, I really want to change our industry. Boom.
Boom.
Yeah.
Seriously, the effects of this isn't just the HVAC industry.
Oh, of course.
Because the professionalism that you're talking about developing is a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah.
If people would apply some of these principles, you will see an improvement, an enhancement, and just a general increase in the service industry.
Sure.
Anyone who can provide a service or a product with that customer experience to back them up, there's some awesome opportunity there.
Sure. So I want to just go off that just a little bit more, because I think maybe I haven't said it this way, but the ultimate thing is, who do I have to become to be a 5-star professional, to earn a 5-star review? So who do I have to become? And that's what I want to help these people realize is if I become better with my time management, it's not just gonna change my relationship with my customers. My family's gonna benefit from it, my friends. Like, once you start becoming this person of 5-star, it's not just business. Your personal life, your home life. You're gonna attract so much more awesomeness, right? Gosh, I'm so fired up.
Yeah. Dan is a very relaxed, very chill guy. Why we love hanging out with him. But when he's fired up, it's like the energy is so different. It's really cool. But I think this is really cool. We mentioned this in the first segment, and I'm going to mention it again. This emulates who you are, because you mentioned, the development of professionalism, starting with the person themselves, trickles down not through just work, but to the house or to your home with your family and your entire life.
Sure.
This is why that all of this emulates who you are and who you've become, because you mentioned your son earlier,
sure,
and how good of a person and kid he is, and how he's starting to dream and think big, and you're supporting those. But how cool is that it's trickling down into your life, and now you just want to share it. Imagine 100 different Dan Clappers out there,
sure,
who want to do the same thing, who capture this message and take it to the world. Imagine the world after that.
Awesome.
I agree. I agree. And for those listening too, I just wanted to throw that message out there, that a lot of what we talk about here on the show is very. We talk a lot about business. We talk a lot about principles that come from the books that we read, and just development overall, business building, professional development. But all of it really stems down to what kind of person are you, and how hard are you willing to work for the optimal goal of being the ultimate professional, or the ultimate person, the ultimate human that can help as many people as possible. Awesome. And I think that's why any of us go into business. The root of it all isn't just to make millions, which we all would like to make millions, but it's to make a difference, and that emulates in your energy and who you are. And I think that's why everybody should consider, if you're not in the HVAC industry, you should still consider joining the club in 2019, and also buying his book. Which, are we allowed to say the name or title of that book?
Yeah, so it's basically, the main title is Find Your Fire.
Find Your Fire.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which, if we haven't already felt the fire in this room, okay.
So, yeah, and it'll be up on Amazon pretty shortly.
Incredible.
Great.
And all of our details regarding this book, Dan Clapper, and how to get a hold of him will be in our show notes. If any of you have any questions, please reach out to us.
Great, thank you.
Dan, it's been a pleasure having you on our show.
Thank you.
And this will not be the last time. Because
Awesome.
we are going to want to, in the new year, follow up on the success and the starting of this program.
Great.
We're going to want to launch it. For those of you listening at home, this has been the Circle of Knowledge podcast. If you would like to be a part of this podcast, we have applications currently out there right now. Please just send us a message at info@amplifiedminds.com. Or you can ping one of us on any social media platform, from Facebook, LinkedIn to Twitter, and we'll direct you to that process. But we love to find people who we believe are changing the world and have exceptional content to provide to our listeners. So looking forward to broadcasting that. Matt, do you have anything else to leave with us?
You do a great job, John.
Okay, this has been Jon Kovach Jr., Matt Fritzsche, Dan Clapper. Thanks for joining us, and we all hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, this is John with Amplified Minds. Thanks again for listening to the show. We really hope you enjoyed the Circle of Knowledge podcast. If you like the Circle of Knowledge podcast, go ahead, subscribe, rate us, and if you give us a 5-star review, we promise to give you a personal shout out here on the air. Just watch us. You can also engage with us a little bit more through social media. On any channel, you can just find us at Amplified Minds. To learn more about Amplified Minds, go to our website at amplifiedminds.com. That's AMPLIFIEDMINDS.com. You should also check out the Amplified Minds Accountability Program, where you can gain access to a one-on-one personal accountability coach, somebody who will contact you weekly and motivate you, hold you accountable, follow up, and give you the proper resources that will help you to go out and achieve all your goals. Hey, shout out to all you coaches, speakers, mentors, the superheroes of the world. We have the perfect program for you and your audiences. We have the capabilities of setting your audience and communities up in private mastermind groups and assign them a one-on-one personal accountability coach where they can help your people achieve the things that they're working towards, tailored to your programs. For more information about this, go ahead and send me an email at Jon, that's JON, at amplifiedminds.com. I look forward to hearing from you.